You ever find something old, dusty, maybe totally overlooked, and it turns out to be packed with some seriously profound, modern-day wisdom? Well, that's exactly what we're getting into today. So let's just dive right in. So everything we're about to go through, it all comes from this one small kind of yellowed booklet of Hindi aphorisms. It's called Anmol Suktiya, which means precious aphorisms. This isn't some famous text, not a bestseller. It's just a simple collection of thoughts that feels like finding a forgotten treasure map for how to live life.
Which, brings us to the big question here. In our world of nonstop notifications, endless scrolling, and this constant pressure to always be on, what can these quiet, simple thoughts from a totally different era really teach us? Well, we're about to find out.
Okay, so the first thing this booklet does, it doesn't start by looking out at the world. Nope, it starts by looking inward. The first and most important idea here is that all real strength, all peace, and all success, it begins with mastering your own mind. This is the bedrock, victory over self. And get this, check out how it frames a feeling we all know. The book describes worry not just as, a thought in your head, but as a physical force. It calls it an axis, a point you just spin around on that doesn't move you forward. Instead, it just grinds you down, creating friction that literally drains your energy. What a brilliant and surprisingly modern way to put it.
And hey, it doesn't just stop with worry. The booklet basically gives us a field guide to our own internal enemies. It points out the big three, worry, anger, and ego, as the main thing standing in the way of a peaceful life. And it suggests that just being able to name them, to recognize them, well, that's the first step to taking away their power.
So how do you actually fight these battles inside your head? The book gives some incredibly practical advice. Think about this. It says, real courage isn't some huge, heroic act. It's having the integrity not to talk badly about someone who isn't there to defend themselves. It tells you to use a simple smile as a real tool against stress. And it's constantly pulling you back to right now, to the present, away from the ghosts of the past. It just goes to show wisdom isn't some lofty, abstract thing. It's what you do day in and day out.
Okay, so once you've started to get a handle on your inner world, what's next? Well, now you've got to navigate the outer one. So let's move on to the second big theme, the art of relationships.
Now this might be the most powerful statement in the entire booklet. It just cuts through all the dogma, all the rituals, and gets to a simple, universal truth. The text says that love, that pure human connection, isn't just at the heart of all faiths, but that it's an even higher calling than a life dedicated only to devotion. I mean, that's a radical and really beautiful idea.
And this slide is so smart because it breaks down a really subtle but super important distinction the booklet makes. It separates prem, which is that deep, essential love, from romance. Romance is the excitement, the big gestures, the spark, but love is the essence. It's the quiet, enduring strength that's underneath it all. It suggests that while romance is amazing, it's that deeper love that we should really be trying to build.
And that same kind of wisdom, it applies to friendships too. The text puts this huge value on those old, time-tested friendships, calling them invaluable. And then it gives a little warning. Be careful, be deliberate when you make new friends. True friendship isn't about collecting contacts. It's a deep investment.
And here we get these incredible, timeless rules for just getting along with people. It's so simple, but so deep, right? Listen more than you talk. Think of your character, your integrity, as a precious ornament you have to protect. Find that sweet spot between being cheap and flashing your wealth. And always, always choose love over anger. This isn't just about being nice, it's a game plan for a much more harmonious life.
All right, so we've gone from the self to our relationships, and now the booklet zooms way out to look at the biggest picture of all, the entire journey of life. It gives us a really clear-eyed philosophy on success, on purpose, and on what it means to find real happiness. I love this because there's absolutely no sugarcoating here. The booklet is just refreshingly honest about what it takes to achieve something. It says it flat out. Success is not easy, and it comes at a cost. That price is hard work, discipline, sacrifice. It's a really grounding reminder, especially in a world full of get-rich-quick promises.
And it's not just talk. It actually lays out a kind of roadmap for this journey. First, start with courage. Then, understand that challenges and risks, they aren't getting in your way. They're literally the building blocks of the staircase to success. And when you fail, because, we all do, don't point fingers. Look inside and find the weakness that needs to be strengthened. Because at the end of the day, success is just as much about how you handle the journey as it is about getting to the destination.
So if success is this hard, where do we actually find joy? The booklet's answer is just beautiful and simple. Real joy isn't in the big promotion or the lottery win or the viral video. It's found in the quiet stuff, in keeping your inner balance and being content with what you have, and in the simple, selfless act of helping someone else, with no strings attached.
And this right here, this is a piece of advice that just nails that whole philosophy. It's a tiny daily habit with a huge impact. Before words come out of your mouth, just do a quick check. Is this me praising myself? Is this me putting someone else down? It's like a simple filter for humility and kindness, which are the core ingredients of that true joy we're talking about.
And this brings us to the final thought. And honestly, this might be the most essential practice of them all. No matter where you are, no matter how crazy your day gets, just take one moment to stop and observe yourself, to check in. It's a call for mindfulness and self-reflection that is probably more important today than it has ever been.
So, from conquering your inner world to the art of connecting with others, this forgotten little book has given us so much to think about. It really proves that the deepest lessons don't always come from the newest, shiniest sources. So, looking back at everything we just covered, which one of these lessons are you going to